Good morning, March 3rd. Bob Trade Genius in a very rainy Southern California morning. Finally getting some good rain. And also, other good news is Bitcoin is now climbing up the measured move wall. And so if you look here, I'll zoom out here so my volume profile changes a little bit. We're now moving up to that zone that I've been talking about for quite some time. I'm pretty confident now that we'll probably get into the mid 12,000s, possible this weekend. And then from there, it's going to move up to here in all likelihood. So money flow has been good. My short swing buy signals are executed. And I mean, look at this move here. This is already 50% move from our last signal, and we're coming up on. We're still considered, believe it or not, officially still in the downtrend. This is the last 100 days of the linear regression, but it's starting to flatten out now. But for all intents and purposes, this break here, this is the cup and handle breaking out, is a very, very positive bottoming technical pattern. And so we're looking for the lift. And I think what's helping Bitcoin too, ironically, is that there's been a pretty hard assault on some of the altcoins and some of the ICOs, and big money needs big liquidity, and I think they're sensing stress in the stock market. And I think now we can be pretty confident that this move is really designed. This move here was designed for big money to get in at lower prices, because they're the ones that are causing the turmoil in the stock market. And the stock market's far from being over. It still has a lot of room to move down. I'll show that to you in a second. So let me flip through the other guys here. Is that here's Dash. Dash has a buy signal, but it's not pacing with Bitcoin. Here's Enigma. It doesn't show well on an hour daily, so I flipped to an hourly on this. And nice thing about it, Bitcoin's moving up and the altcoin's moving up with it. You get a twofer. I just like what these guys have to say and do with the smart contract MIT based team. I think this is going to become one of the coins that will stand out in the future. Let's see here. Here's ETC. I put that up there because it's been moving over Ethereum. Definitely just a trader's coin here. Look at this. Basically, come into the channel, you buy. Come to the top of the channel, you hop off. Some really nice swings here. Okay, but for me it's just a trader coin. Here's Ethereum. You know, I'm not sure what to think of Ethereum at this point. That's not a very bullish pattern. Even though there's a buy signal right now, it looks like it could be rolling down. It needs to break out of here for me to be interested in trading it. Let's take a peek at Komodo. Okay, Komodo's on a rising channel, coming up off the bottom of the channel. Very interesting. Got a buy signal here. Bitcoin moving up. Might be an interesting coin to trade. Litecoin, which I do own, has its buy signal from down here. This is consolidation. It's moving higher. And I agree with Phil. Phil's thinking 260, 270. I definitely see that as absolutely possible. Here's Neocoin, not doing much. Has a buy signal, but doesn't look interesting to me at the moment. Stellar doesn't look too exciting. Monero's had a nice little run here from its buy signal and also the bottom of the channel. You know, you're looking at 240 to 350. Not bad at all. 30% move here. And the banker's coin Ripple. So Ripple's just been consolidating down here, but you get these impulses when the bankers get involved. So just something to keep an eye on. A lot of rumors circulating around Ripple and Coinbase. I'm sure if that happens, it'd be good for a pop. But other than that, you know, it's the banker's coin. So let me flip over to the futures here real fast. Okay, the oil. Just so you guys know too, this was the top. This to me is a failure of the top. So now I'm looking for, you know, Fridays are just a little tip and trick. If you're trading futures, never really short oil on a Friday. Okay, just too much event risk over the weekend. You never know if a war is going to break out and you're unable to trade against it. So a lot of traders will not push down oil hard on a Friday, and so it tends to pop. A couple hammers here. Oil may move up to here, but oil's definitely coming down further. Okay, a dollar and a big push came back. Now it's also, this is interesting too, the dollar looks like it's just like the futures market for oil, so doesn't look too strong, which is really scary though if you think about it, is that you think a weaker dollar should be stronger oil, but it's why things are weak is important. But I still think the dollar index is going to continue to move higher. Yes, looks like oil. They're all going to be looking the same, just like in the crypto world. You know, all these assets are moving together. Friday was a dead cat bounce. Again, it's hard to short on Fridays because unless there's really perceived weakness, traders are taking in their trades. They're closing their if they were short, they're closing their short book to take profit. They're closing their VIX contracts, which is volatility, which is a hedge against the market, and that tends to lift the market because the counters of those trades are buyers. And so it doesn't necessarily mean there's buying pressure, it just means that selling pressure is evaporated. Okay, so now this is showing a hammer, but a hammer on a Friday doesn't really tell me too much. We'll have to see what happened. What's been happening though is on Wednesdays the last 3 weeks have been big sell-offs. So Monday probably could be up, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday down again. It just definitely looks like a controlled sell-off in the market. I'm still of the mindset that we're going to come down and we're going to test 2450. Let me go into SPY because I think I have it marked up. Yeah, so here. So, okay, so this was a test to see if we can get to the high. That test has failed. So now the next test is to see if it comes down and touches this low here at 250, 252. Now, if that fails, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a trend line from here to here. And I'll do that now while we're doing this video. So you put it here, and you put it here. Okay, now what we're looking at here is are we setting up a triangle? Okay, so now if the market pushes up and it pushes through this downtrend line, then we're probably looking for the market to move higher again. Okay, so you could put one here if you choose. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. So you put a bottom here, and you put it in here. So, see, to me that triangle's a little steep. So, so I don't think we're ready for a triangle yet. I still think we have work to do on the downside here. But now we're watching to see if this downtrend line gets taken out. Then you can move higher. So that's SPY. So my indication is we may push up a little bit on Monday, and we're going to continue this descent back down. There's just no liquidity in the market, and people are starting to notice. we're having ETF outflows now too. So the fund managers can't absorb it, and our central bank is not a buyer, and I don't think the Japanese and the Swiss central banks have enough heft to drive this forward. So FYI. So, and let's take a look at gold. Okay, this is interesting for gold. So it came across the channel, big hammer here, move up Friday. Just not sure what to think, to be honest with you. You know, if you just look at this chart here, you could draw two patterns. This one right here could be a rounded top, and we're going to come all the way back down here to 1240, or this hammer rejects it and we're going to move back higher again. I'm still of the camp that the dollar is going to be stronger, and we're going to have some pressure yet on gold. And once that ends, then I think gold's going to make a big move. But you got to respect a bounce on a channel like this and a hammer. So now let's see if this gets rejected first. And let's take a look at Natty. I think this is where the easy money is, if you will. Okay, starting to roll up. Puts these rounded bottoms in, rounded bottom in, and then I think it's just going to explode. So for the month of March, you know, if you're looking for an area of interest, take a look at UNG. And then Southwest Energy paid us off its earnings report. Okay, and you know, I got out at 385. My position was from 365. I didn't like the first 2 hours. It just wasn't doing anything, and I'm like, stock market's a little weak. You know, I don't want a failure on my hands because I had a fairly decent sized position, and so I just called it out, and then it just exploded. Now, if it drifts down, and then it looks like an opportunity to move higher again. So this does this a couple times. If you notice, is that they like to sell this thing off going into earnings. We caught this move right here before Thanksgiving, and so when this thing gets oversold, Southwest Energy is a nice stock to trade, just FYI. It's in my portfolio, my watch list. And so we've had 2 nice trades on it in the last 4 months. And let's see if anything else I want to show you. I think NASDAQ will look like ES here. Okay. It came the closest to a double top here, and it failed. And this is the one to really watch. If NASDAQ goes, the ES is going to crumble because it's all the FANG stocks. And then you look at it, and here's what's holding the markets from utter destruction. There's Apple. Okay, there's Google. There's Facebook. There's Amazon. There's Twitter. That's your stock market, okay? And that's where all the money gets poured into when they're doing these passive investing things. So interesting volume pocket here on Twitter. Probably come down and fill that. So anyway, that's my thoughts. So my focus is I'm highly interested in natural gas. That's going to kind of be my theme. I'm going to look to short the market as often as I can. I'm doing a lot of day trading at this point, and just because I just don't want to wake up to a huge downdraft in the market. Anyway, thanks for listening, and tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time, Phil and I are going to do a Bob and Phil show. So you're welcome. They're always fun. It's kind of open forum. Phil talk cryptos. I'll chime in on those, and then I'll talk the major market trends. Anyway, it's on YouTube's Trade Genius channel. It'll be a live stream, so you'll see it. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel, and then that way when we go live, you'll get notified. Thanks. Bye bye.